Hey everybody, we're still setting up. Bit of an impromptu earlier start because due to a slight scheduling misunderstanding, we weren't able to appear at the webcomic roundtable yesterday. So I wanted, because, by the way, this is my webcomic co-writer Dan Roth. Give it up for this. Best looking man in webcomics, must say. Besides me. Yeah, we basically are going to start with a mostly comic-focused panel, which is why it's starting earlier, and then eventually transitions to General Brentalfloss while we set up this projector. So, what do you think, man? Should we go for it? Should we stall it? Can you tap dance?
No, I think we should just talk about the comic.
Okay.
Hi. Good afternoon, folks. So we're here to make a rather large announcement.
Yeah.
At the Open, which is that as of the 200th strip, Brentalfloss the comic will be ending.
Yeah. So, now that your minds are blown, we're going to talk about that. And we decided to do that at the beginning of the Q&A because it would be weird to have you guys ask questions about the future and goals and all these things, and then people are like, oh, by the way, it's ending, goodbye. So, yeah, basically, do you want to kind of elaborate on your thought behind that?
Sure. So when we first started doing Brentalfloss the comic, it was, let's just throw anything at the wall and see what sticks. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And then we got into year 2, and we got a new website, and that was exciting. And then we got picked up by Kotaku, and then we were like, okay, we're featured on a gaming website.
Yeah.
So let's do gaming comics all the time. And then we started to feel like we were doing the same joke over and over again.
Yeah, well,
like variations on a theme.
Yeah, I think at some point when your heart's no longer in something, but you feel like you've had a good run,
Right.
instead of drag it out to where everyone's like, where no one's enjoying it, like going out of the note where you're like, I feel like we had a lot of good episodes.
Right, so it's
had
like-
a good 2 years, so
Right.
that's the thought behind it.
Right, so it's like Patrick Troutman was the second doctor on Doctor Who, gave a lot of other doctors the same advice, which is like, you do it as long as you like it, and then you leave on a high. And I feel like that's sort of what it is that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
We were happy. I felt like almost 3 years ago I approached you about the idea of doing a comic, and then for over 2 years we did that comic.
Yeah.
And, we became collaborators, we became friends.
Yeah.
And we'll do other stuff in the future, but the comic is sort of what it's going to be.
Yeah, it feels like it's done what it's going to do.
Right, it is achieved its full zenith
Yes.
potential.
We have completed the game.
Yeah.
We've gotten all the achievements.
Lost the game.
Yeah. Say what?
I lost the game.
Oh. Well, we all just lost the game just now. You think you got it in Canada? The game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
They do.
All right.
Confirmed.
So at this point, re-scribble all the questions you were thinking about asking in your index cards, and should we start with the Q&A section?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Questions or just general comments. We also accept candy, Bitcoin. Hands generally going up in the air rather than just staying in your mouth. There you go. All right, hit me.
Okay, since you're ending the comic, with obviously the Brentalfloss character in there, would there be maybe a future for a different type of comic that you guys might collaborate on, or it's like original, something new?
I mean, here's the thing. I feel like of the 2 things I feel like you and I have ever discussed doing outside of it, neither of them are enough of the stage to talk about.
Right.
I would never rule out the idea of doing something else. A comic wherein we have to update a certain number of times a week, I don't think that the 2 of us would ever be together again. Because so here's the deal. Someday, I really want to be able to just go down the line with anybody who actually cares and go, this one was a collaboration, this one is Brent, this one is me. You will see that the difference is staggering. Our styles are so different. And we would go through long stretches of time where it was like constant, not like fighting like we were mad, but just very drastically different.
Friendly arm wrestling.
Like
That's kind of how
visions
it
of what it is that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, a comic, no. I am going to be doing more comics for Shea Apocalypse. That's the next thing I'll be doing comic-wise. So if you like webcomics, you should come over to Shea Apocalypse, and there will be a series of new ones that are going to be coming out in the near future.
Questions?
I actually do have some candy if you want some.
I do.
Really?
Approach. Approach with your candy of many Japanese characters. Oh, thank you. Oh, what White Rabbit. Is this gonna make me go into the picture or something?
It might
Caramel,
kill you.
oh, like the milk inside, like a little milk flavored cinder? Or I feel like something.
This, you need the rice paper?
Yeah.
It's a trap. I'm gonna let you do it first.
Real hard.
It's real hard. And they're just joining us on this panel. It's riveting. We're just doing this weird Japanese. I guess it's Japanese. I mean, from the White Rabbit, Japanese caramels.
Brentalfloss fries food.
Yeah, it's an amazing experience. Let me tell you. Question? Hit me with the question, John. You sir.
He's got a shade, Max. See, you gotta do some detective work, see. I'm sorry, I felt like doing that.
We always experience that moment. Yeah, give it up for that guy. Before the next question, I'm glad you're about to ask, hopefully. I want you to know, I think it's just worth pointing out, maybe as a disclaimer, I hit my head really hard right before this panel started. Do I see you? You know me really well.
How many fingers?
More than usual.
Wow.
Personal. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm good. What happened? I kind of wish now they were there. Remember that? It was loud, right?
It was really loud.
I was looking at the projector and I was like trying to get stuff done and I went boom! And the sound of this thing ringing, I couldn't tell whether the bell-like sound was that or my head, but it was very loud. Dan started asking questions about like presidents and anyway. So the good news is now I have a disclaimer for any crazy dumb shit that I say for the next hour, so just know.
So if you're like, oh, see, I remember, see?
As far as I know, that might not even happen.
I'm just a figment inside of your head, and I have been for the last 2.5 years.
Oh my god! Fight Club's not real? Neither is Webcomic Club. Number one rule of Webcomic Club is
yes,
you have to release twice a week. It's not the same kind of club.
young Norm Macdonald clone has been the secret inside your head.
He thinks that he's, I don't know. Do you know Macdonald?
Do I know Macdonald? I don't, what's he do? Like,
Either that or your Shatner.
oh,
He doesn't kick ass curve.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because Norm Macdonald is like, nobody would get it. It's like, the NBC Dirty Work. Has anybody ever seen that?
Hell yeah.
All right.
When he gets thrown through the playback window and he picks up the recorder and he's like, note to self, learn to fight.
It's a good
It's
movie.
a joke for 2 people.
It's a good movie.
Which is like every comic I've ever read.
If you're in 1997, it's a great movie. If you're then. You got a question in the red.
Yes.
Oh, is that a Star Trek outfit?
It is.
Lovely.
Thank you. My question is mainly about the Brentalfloss with lyrics. What do you do in terms
So here's what I'm
of...
going to do, just because I'm trying to be a good steward of my friend
Oh, it's still
collaborator.
comics,
We're sort of doing like a crowbar separation between the comic portion of the panel and the general questions. So I'm really glad you have a question, but I'm going to awkwardly, in a way that, everybody's really excited and happy about, feeling good about, say, hold that question.
I can ask you another one.
Well then please do.
In regards to the comic, what made you come up with the idea of some of the, I guess you'd say merchandise that just shows up in this, like duck butt, lollipops and stuff like that?
Well, Duck Butt Lollipop is a pretty specific origin story.
I guess, I feel like my notion of it was that, I don't want to, like Level Up Studios says Gancat, remember that thing? And it was really, really popular, and I thought, why?
Yeah.
Why is this, it's not that it's not cute, but it's like they just took 3 things, a cat, a Pop-Tart, and space. And they were like, boom, buy it, fuckers.
Yeah.
And people did.
It did.
And we didn't actually plan, I never, like, Duck Duck Lollipop was just like, here's our 3 things. It's duck, a lollipop, and surprise.
And not so happy one.
The word surprise is just evil, I'm sorry.
It is an evil surprise. A lollipop up the butt is a pretty evil surprise. Because, it could have been a good
Except for the one
good
in
experience, but now, what are you going to do with that thing? I mean, let's be honest. Now it's just a butt lollipop. In a duck.
Great question.
Yeah. You, sir.
I just looked you up on TV tropes, and one of the tropes you have is badass beard.
Uh-huh.
Where did it go?
Where did the badass beard go?
Your beard?
Beard. Well, it's right under the mic, dum-dum. This is bad enough. Here, check it out. What you're gonna notice upon looking closer is a tritone that goes from bleach blonde, natural, goes through some nice, like, auburn and brown, and then some weird, like, Irish red from way down my family line, and then to almost a coffee black down here, all in like a matter of 2 or 3 inches. So, if that's not badass enough for you,
Oh, that's
how much time?
It's better up close, and you got that chin strap going on.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, holding on to that. Thanks for the question. I'm gonna go back to SD, away from HD. All right, give me another question. You, sir, if it's the same thing again.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
I meant to
How
ask
is it
this
not?
earlier, but you went to the 50s accent and my brain stopped working.
I did or you did?
Mine did.
Okay.
What I was actually thinking, you said last comic. I noticed there's some, I'm not sure if you've heard of this, but I've been sort of a passive reader of Brawl in the Family.
Mhm.
And whenever they have like...
Whenever they somehow fall on your face, you'll read them. Like, what do you, like passive reader, what does that mean? I stumbled across a laptop and I was like, well, I'm here.
Once in the rising of the full moon, when the wind is blustling through the trees.
Blustling. Somebody make out with this guy. He is blustling hard right now. I hope you have.
And the internets work at night because they never do work. For me, it seems. I go
Well,
on.
this is great. I don't even need to be on the panel.
I was gonna say,
Well,
don't go. Yeah, there's no escape that way. Okay, go on.
You asked me how to passive reading. So, right.
What'd you like?
Internet coming through, and
Well,
skip to the end.
okay.
Question.
I click on my favorites. I look at the things. I see they have these little music videos or song videos.
Yes.
Is the last the Brentalfloss comic going to have something as epic, like as a music number attached to it, or like a 12-page made big story arc? Because you really should.
No. I don't know. To be honest, total honesty time. I have no idea what we're doing for the last 8 episodes of the comic. This is the problem when you reach the point where you feel like you've done the whole thing over and over and over again, is that you find that point where it's like, we have a very nice artist who, if we give him the thing like a couple hours before it's due, he'll churn it out, which is very kind, but like, I really like to think, what is it going to be this time? But, like, there was a comic that you did where like there was a gamer in front of the newsstand, and like he was like, oh, there's nothing happening in gaming news, it's so lame, and like behind him, like, there's like all actual people news that matters.
Just revolting and planes crashing and stuff.
Yeah, and that is how it is. Sometimes.
Yeah, but the thing is, true to form, we've gotten to the point where the comic we actually have become a fairly well-oiled machine of procrastination, because we wake up every morning, if you can believe that, we wake up every morning the day before the comic is released, and right around, 10 or 11, we both go, all right, we gotta write a comic. What do you think?
Right, and it'll be like the G-Chat hour.
Yeah,
we go back
we're
and
both
forth.
on G-Chat, we're both like morning coffee, and
Yeah, and then eventually it turns out. And it's amazing that it happens every single time.
it does.
We're just so talented.
Yes.
Yes.
Silence.
And with that comment, would you consider making the making of for like your last episode or something like that?
Well, so now we've got 2 concepts for how to end it.
Right.
I feel like if I were going to, no. I want to answer your question. I feel like the making of anything is actually extremely boring.
True. I mean, and also the thing is that Andy, somewhere if you look, he's done, I think, a Brentalfloss or 2, where he's shown differences between, like, here's the script that we gave him, and then, like, the ways that he's changed it after we give him a round of notes or 2, or 3 or 4, as the case may be. So those are out there, which you can find. Do you want to have this conversation in front of a crowd of people of things that we might do?
Wow, the real-time discussion of what we could do with the end of the comic, because true to form, we're 8 episodes out.
Right.
And
so,
don't know.
4 weeks.
Yeah, but it's a good time. Hey, now we both have water.
All right, everybody next one.
Yeah.
We're eliminated.
So here's what I think. I have a concept that might be the dumbest thing ever.
Is it the thing that you told me the other day?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it, but you should say it out loud anyway. And then I'm gonna
Well,
say
just
it.
see how it plays. It's Sunday morning, so everybody's hungover, tired, or just in the wrong panel anyway, but it's all good. So the first episode of the comic, we tried to establish the difference between the real world and the alt universes of Brentalfloss comic. So there's this magic cartridge that sort of encompasses all these classic retro games, and the Brent character blows off the dust like you do, and it's like all this kind of magical glitter, and then suddenly he's a cartoon and less realistic looking. And then, like on the screen it says press start, and that was we began that way. So like, part of me wants to wrap up the story arcs and like the whole what the comic was by explaining that somehow that cartridge changed the, I already hate it. But there's something to do with that cartridge that can bookend the series by going back to real life. Because it was a journey we've taken into a cartoon land that I never thought I would do a comic personally. But approach with the idea, I was like, sure. So it really is kind of like this tangential universe that existed and now won't. Maybe that's too deep and stoner sounding, but it's one possibility. Superman.
Well, in Flossed in Time, that story arc,
Yeah.
there was sort of a love-hate, sort of tsundere relationship between Brent and the neighbor. Is that ever going to come up again?
I'm like, there's a part of me that wants to, not that, but I do kind of want to, since we can do anything, I wouldn't mind, like, letting them appear one last time.
Explaining why they've been apparently dead
I
for a
just,
year?
yeah. I don't know, I want to make a joke of it a little bit, I want to bring back a couple of those things, I want to bring back the llama one more time.
Yeah.
I want to bring back Peppy one more time.
Yeah.
Like, these are the things that I would not mind doing. Just 8 last issues about a llama.
Yeah.
There's a really
Finally fulfilling our
is
destiny.
my game plan. But I would love to. I mean, like, so far from time, I enjoyed doing it. We were going to do a sequel. I don't know if we didn't film the thing yet, Kineticon, but we talked because there was supposed to be a sequel. I lied. We didn't do the sequel. We were going to kill people. We were going to kill Travis in the sequel.
But in a kind of sneaky, is he really dead, time travel kind of way.
Right, and we were going to further the thing between Cass and Brent. But we were going to end it. Ooh, I forgot about this until this moment. Is that we were going to dodge it. It was going to be at the very end. For the longest time, I thought the end of the Flossed in Time 2 was going to be Travis survives, grows as a person from it, and then goes and asks Jules out. But then at the last minute, I was like, no. He's going to ask Cass out, and Cass and Travis are going to become like boyfriend, girlfriend, and it's going to create a whole weird conflict. Because that is what Brentalfloss the comic is all about: long form, serious, dramatic storytelling.
That's what it started out as, but like really, we ended up realizing that the kind of one-liner jokes that are part of the lyric series and part of my personality also kind of play better than, forcing the audience to understand who the characters are, even if they're just reading an episode for the first time. And Brent and Cass were never Jim and Pam. Like, I don't think anybody was ever like, oh, I can't wait for them to get together. Like nobody really ever seemed to like give a huge crap about it. So, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there who's like still shipping Brent and Cass, but is that a thing people say? I've seen it on Tumblr.
Yeah.
Some people.
All right. I'm just shipping all of you guys. I just want you to know. All right, you start.
I'm going to be brutally honest, but I have never seen any of the webcomics. Could we possibly see some of the webcomics on?
Possible is actually the most operative word because this is not my usual laptop. I know. I'm going to see if I have.
Yes, I know.
I mean, the nice thing is that the internet is probably on the phone in your pocket. So if this doesn't work,
I feel like you should just play the Game Over. Do you ever hear the Game Over Tiny song? Okay, you should just play that.
It's done. It's actually not on this computer because I'm in between computers right now. My old one's shitting. My current one's shitting the bed, so this one is my old one. Like the one on which Mega Man 3 with lyrics was like born. So you can tell by the Obama Biden 2008 sticker. Kind of an oldie. Yeah. But here's what I'll say. I would love to show it to you, but there is literally no no evidence of the comic ever. Oh wait, here we go. You want to know the Wario one?
Oh, is that on there?
Yeah.
Read that weird one.
So let me walk you through this.
I don't get it.
So, by the way, this is why Macs are better. The thing I'm doing right now. Anyway, so panel 1. Who says the next kid here? Maybe.
Sure.
All right. And this is why Macs are worse. I don't know what to do now. Just taking it all in. And Tingle. Wario is Tingle. This is a, you know, I don't know what counts as a typical comic for us, but I'm not sure this is one, but I like it. Yeah. Wario's Tingle. The end. Hold your heart.
Everybody.
Well, the main thing we're hoping for is for everybody to take it literally and really dissect it.
Also, I don't get it is my favorite comment, and please everybody say that every time I read a comment for 2 years.
That's why we do it.
Provided you such joy.
Lies. Questions from?
Are you considering ending the comic on more of a just ending it, or actually giving it some closure?
The concept of closure is sort of like, does it need?
Oh, thanks. It's not good? Oh, okay.
I guess I feel like
Thanks, buddy.
I'm suddenly a wreck.
Whoa. A wreck. He's suddenly a wreck.
I'm a wreck. That's what I was going to say. I mean, like, here's the thing. Because for so long the comic has been these one and done gag strips, I don't know that there's any great closure, right? Because the only closure that I really cared about was, hey, are we good about both this comic? Yes? Great.
Yeah, that was ours.
Like, really, like,
closures already happened. But the thing is, I feel like if we just ended, like, imagine if that strip, which was, you know, like an interesting strip, not one that I would end the comic on. Right. If we ended the comic with that, or just some workaday joke, that would feel weird. And I feel like we need to end it in a way that feels like.
We'll end it the way that I'd always intended to end it, which is with all of us dying horribly. Because remember, I wrote a script, way towards the beginning, and I was like, this is how we're going to end it. Whenever the comic ends, and you were like, no. But this is how we're going to end it. It's the three of us, it's you, me, and our artist, Andy Dobson, and we're on the Brentalfloss living room space, but it's a set, right? Like, it's pulled away so you can see, like, the lights and the cameras and stuff. And we're sort of talking about how we've had a good run, and like, you know, it becomes like, well, but actually, we're not really friends, and nobody really ever liked the comic, and nobody really likes us. And then the last strip is we've all hung ourselves. That was the plan.
This is this guy's personality. Now, what we could do
is not that, but I just think that's funny. Here's the thing, any strip that you see the punchline is death. If death is the punchline, I have written it.
Yeah, those are the ones that came out of Dan's brain. But you know, what if we did a choose your own ending?
If you wanted to see Cass and Brent together, press 1. Oh my God!
Like we could do a thing where, okay, Andy, our artist, not always, but a few times has submitted ideas for comics to us, but we rarely do them because it's a stylistic issue. You know, stylistically, Dan and I are kind of like ketchup and marshmallows, both good in their own, but mixing them can be tricky sometimes. And you know, like.
But I love the ketchup marshmallow sandwich.
And I barbecue, and that's what. So Andy's a whole nother flavor that if you're trying to intrude onto ketchup and marshmallows, it's like, now we got jelly beans. What's going on in this dish?
But the blob is really gonna like it. That Blabonian.
That's
blob,
true.
they love it.
Oh yeah. But the point is that what if we did 3? Like we all 3 wrote an ending. I mean, I wouldn't want it to seem competitive. More just like
I don't know. I
like Clue. You know, the movie Clue.
This is what really happened.
I just feel like ending it positive and making it about probably just like I kind of want to do the Toy Story 3 ending, but about video games, like where it just finds a way to make you nostalgic and feel good about your love of games, and you know what I mean. Like that's more or less the through line of our strip, I think. No?
Yeah.
That's a pretty tall order, though. We're just gonna do the Toy Story 3, easy peasy. Like, what does that mean? Bowtie, hit me.
I just wanted to say, like, when you were feeling nostalgic like that, there's like a whole comic you had of Mario games. Like, you were young and then you went to teenagers.
His idea, yeah.
That was awesome. Huh?
Thanks. Oh, thanks. Dan, actually, the interesting thing is that if a strip has death as the punchline, or kind of like a sentimental turnaround in the end, those are both from Dan, and I'm everything in between those two. Like, Dan's the extremes of sappy and super dark. That's basically, but I mean, like, there's other ones that you've done that were very heartfelt. The time travel one at the end of Floss's time was like a personal thing for you, and, you know.
It was a very personal thing for me, and I also, I don't know if it's sentimental, but I thought that weird highbrow, like, the guy steals the newspaper and then Brent's like, hey, I just like the notion of doing that, like, weird, like, I don't know, I like to experiment with what you can do with a comic.
Yeah. I
love death.
Death and life, so much. I'm gonna say, because it's about 1:17, maybe like a 5-minute wrap up of this part of the panel?
Sure.
Okay, let's do a couple more questions. Give me
In the back?
with the nice hat. Not Raggedy Ann, but you next if you want. Yeah, you back there with the cool hat.
What is your favorite collaboration you've done?
Okay, hold on. Somebody's whispering to me behind this thing. What? Send an audio signal through my laptop. Okay, if they all hear it, will it get in the way of the thing I'm trying to do right now? Okay, cool. All right. Thanks, anonymous voice. All right. Thanks, legs behind the thing.
Oh my god!
Yeah, all right. I'm sorry, I got someone through. Were we talking about things?
Yeah, sure we were. Our favorite collaboration.
Our favorite collaboration. So, I think that's Game Over Chinese.
Yeah, definitely the best one. I love that story just because
it was your
yes. Well, I came to you and I was like, I have this notion. Do you know who Edward Gorey is? And you were like, no. And I was like, never mind that. Do you like video games, don't you? And you're like, I like to think of you as a sad person.
Yes.
No, really, okay. All right, what's your fucking idea? I was like, well, Edward Gorey does this thing where like he kills children, but it's like as an alphabet book and it all rhymes. What if we did it with video games? And you're like, I don't know about that, man. That's really weird. And I was like, what if I just paid the extra money for Andy to do all that extra work? And you were like, well, I'm hard up, so sure.
Yeah, I was pretty broke at the time. I was like, you're paying for this? All right, we're ready for that. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine, done. And then we sat down, and I mean, like, it's the most work, I think, like, and constant. Like,
Yeah.
we had so many meetings about that.
Yeah.
More so than any other strip we've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like the quality shows, and it was a lot of fun even when we, like, were really struggling with certain letters.
Yeah.
What do you do with X and then X?
Right, and if you haven't seen it, that's like, I feel like something that hopefully will live on its own. I mean, it was part of Brentalfloss the comic, but it is its own thing, and we have a poster of it, and, you know, it got put on Reddit and all these other places on the internet. And that is one thing about webcomics that is worth saying is, it can be really fun to have a webcomic, but one drawback, or at least one quirk of webcomics is, you know you're doing pretty well when lots of websites are stealing your images and using them and not paying you or crediting you. That's the thing, that's the internet in general, I guess, but I think a lot of people who make anything visual on the internet get the short end of the stick because pictures have become so easy to take, and watermarks can be, you know, liquefied out or cropped out or all kinds of things in Photoshop, so just an interesting quirk of the webcomic lifestyle, if that's something any of you are thinking about doing. Shall we take one more question?
Sure.
All right, who's got the best one? If you know you have the best one, oh, both these guys are like, it's not me. This guy's got the best. He didn't even have one a second ago.
Yeah, but he knows it now.
I was thinking about asking it, but have you thought about ending the comic on a Travis masturbation joke?
Absolutely not. That is literally, of all of the things people have hated, that is the thing that everybody hated the most.
Yeah.
Because I had this original notion that every month I was going to do another joke about Travis masturbating. I thought that I could do that for the 80s. It would be a comic that we did for 20 years, and every month he was just jacking it. I don't even
What's
know.
our joke gonna be this month? I don't know. Grab the pipe and slippers and let's think about it.
Yeah, I just felt, yeah, like we could just do it indefinitely. And I think after the third one, people were like, fuck you!
They were not happy.
Okay, so we won't do
We were literally beating a dead horse.
Again,
All right, so
I'm gonna leave.
do you have any parting words for us?
Yeah, if you like webcomics, you should come to shayapocalypse.com when we start doing the next battery of webcomics, which will be a couple of various and sundry ones. We're going to be doing one called Gay Wharf, which is exactly what it says on the tin. Oh, did it?
Gay Wharf.
Gay Wharf.
There you go.
So Wharf starting the next generation if he was gay.
Oh my god.
That's that one. And then we're going to do one called Feminism the Game for people who don't understand feminism, which is basically just like there's a girl and her guy gets kidnapped, and the reason he gets kidnapped is because feminism. She's like, so they're like, and then obviously the game is you have to kill all these men's rights activists, and she's like, I just want to have a reason to beg with that. That's all. Anyway.
Feminism can be funny.
For some people,
Yeah.
for me it's hilarious. And that's it. Thank you very much for reading it.
All right, so now we're officially switching over to the part of the show that's just me and by my lonesome. Okay, so I'm just testing out my audio level there. What I'd like to do to start off is premiere something that has not been seen by anyone yet, so I hope you're okay with that. I was asked to be part of YouTube's Geek Week, which a lot of people, when I mention that, they're like, oh, if it's like Comedy Week, I already hate it. But when YouTube, officially hits me up for an official thing, I officially am all about it because I'm kind of like, sometimes kind of brushed to the side by official YouTube people. So they were like, we want you to be a part of Geek Week, and I kind of thought about it. I've been thinking about doing something with Schoolhouse Rock. I don't know if you're all familiar, but Schoolhouse Rock is kind of along the lines of Sesame Street, but it was in the 70s and had lots of like really cool 70s groups. If you've ever heard the song Conjunction Junction, What's Your Function? Or I'm just a bill, yes I'm only a bill. Of course you're Canadian, so up here it's probably some other crazy, I'm just a parliamentary note of some kind, I don't know what you I'm just a note from the Prime Minister with words on it. I don't know what to do, but yeah, it's a cool, kind of thing, and it's educational. But as someone who bought the Wii U at launch, I've been learning, and it's the first console I've bought at launch since 1991, when I was given the Super Nintendo at launch. I skipped the GameCube, I got the 64 years after it came out, I got the Wii in 2010. I didn't realize, I got a 3DS in 2013, or end of 12. I never really realized what kind of curve occurs in modern day console launches, and the fact that you're really not getting the whole package on day one. So this is my Schoolhouse Rock style way of expressing that as kind of an educational video. So see you guys later. Hope you have diarrhea. It's okay. Run! Hey, there you go. Yeah. All right. Let's do this. This is my cooking video. Called Game on Top. And is there actually anybody on the audio right now? Just know that if it's too quiet, we should crank it, but I think it'll be fine. Here we go.
Wow, there's so many video game consoles coming out. I'm gonna save up my allowance and buy them all.
You might want to think twice about that, kiddo. Back in the 90s when you bought a new system, it was basic skull and randy control. But those days are gone by, so buddy, don't be that guy. You wanna be the first in line, but I say no, 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 no. They won't have me enough games, no matter how big they seem. It takes at least a year or two before they run it full steam. Yes, it's a dirty little trick, so you gotta be some scared. Don't ever buy a console at launch. I'm being serious, do not ever buy a console at launch.
But the video game companies promise all these great games and features within the first year.
Sure, just like presidential candidates. They'll say anything to get your vote. The way game companies just want you to buy their console.
Did you want to be
More like me, you.
PS4?
Oh, give me more.
Xbox One?
Xbox done. What? The OS or VHS. So you gotta be some scared. Buy a console. along. Nothing is with me, do not ever buy a console along. That's right, and even if it's released, will fix a perfect device. You know that 6 to 12 months later, they'll be dropping the price. And that's a trap, it's a trap, so you got to fix your job. Don't ever buy a console along, or Apple product, but don't ever console along. Don't try it, don't do buy that console along. Yeah!
Big into the YouTube video game fandom. If you are familiar with Dodger of the TGS podcast and Press Hard to Continue, that was actually her as the child's voice. And me doing my best Schoolhouse Rock voice, which really is not comfortable to do. You've got to do this weird, like, this face where you create like a bubble in your throat.
And just keep it there while you sing the whole time.
It's weird. It hurts. But yeah, so no one's seen that. You guys are the first people to see it, and it's coming out in the next 10 days-ish, because they haven't assigned slots yet, but as part of Geek Week. So just know, at least this video, hopefully, will not contribute to the notion that every time YouTube does a week event, that it's a week event. Hey, wordplay. Let me get some questions from you guys. Commander, what, do you have a name for your Star Trek character?
Do I have, no.
Commander, no. Okay.
Engage.
Well, yes. In regards to the process of starting with lyrics, how do you go about finding a song that you want to take on?
Well, it's individual to each one is case by case. Sometimes, I'm loath to say this, but every now and then someone will suggest a song to me that I don't know, and I will go and listen to it just to investigate, and I will like it. I'm loath to say that because the last thing I want is 80 emails a day of like, have you ever thought about doing this one? And it's like, I definitely want to respond to all of those. Politely, for 8 hours. But usually it's just kind of poking around the internet and seeing somebody else has covered a certain song, or seeing somebody else is like waxing poetic about how great this certain theme is, or going back and playing a game from my childhood and going, whoa, this tune is really good. But the impetus to pick a particular tune is different every time. I always try to pick one that's catchy, because co-opting a catchy tune just means that your lyrics are going to get stuck in somebody's head better, but it also has to do with the game. You know, Cave Story is not anywhere near as beloved and well known as, say, a Mega Man game. But the tune was so good, and enough people knew it that I was like, if I can make a video that makes people want to play this game and rock out to a good tune, then I'll have succeeded. The short answer to your question is, it's got to be a catchy tune, it's got to be the right one to represent whatever I'm trying to say about a game, and it's got to be lyricable. A tune can be catchy and not at all lyricable. For instance, the first dungeon tune, or rather all of the like dungeons in Super Mario Brothers 1. I mean Bowser's Castle. It's like not so lyricable, is what I'm saying. Great for a vocal warm-up, not so much for adding words. So even though I could enjoy hearing the tune, it's not lyrical. Literally, it is not. The way that suit might not fit your body, it doesn't fit lyrics, and it's not suitable for that. So anyway, I hope that's somehow answered your question in 8 roundabout ways. Thank you, Commander. You, sir.
Have you ever thought about doing a collaboration with the guy from Miracle of Sound from The Escapist?
So the question is, have I ever thought about collaborating with Miracle of Sound? Miracle of Sound, that guy and I, Gavin, I think is his name, have been talking for months about a collaboration. The problem is he writes from this place, he's always writing from a place of heart and or seriousness, and occasionally he does humor, but not the way I do humor. I do stuff that's heartfelt sometimes, but not the way he does. And so we're trying to find a good match where we can both contribute in a way that doesn't just seem like an awful combination. And I think what might end up happening is he writes a tune and I write the lyric. Because I think getting in the marble cake mix of where we're both contributing might just get really hairy if one of us is like, if he's like, that's kind of too direct lyrically, that's too cynical lyrically, or I'm like, that's too sappy, or that's too frou-frou. Like, we can get very, and like lots of little arm wrestling matches. But I love his work. It's just so not what I do. So the short answer is we're slowly but surely figuring out what to do, but it keeps eluding us. You start the front.
When making your lyrics videos, have you ever come across any copyright issues from the actual game company?
The question is, have I ever come across any copyright issues from the game companies? And when it comes to making the videos, I never have. Because game companies tend to be flattered and smart enough to realize you're advertising their game. The one issue is that the Civilization 4 opening song, Baba Yetu, was also a Grammy Award-winning song on an actual world music album. And so, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and disclaim again for those of you that are just joining us that I did actually really hit my head hard on this projector. I'm starting to feel a little woozy. So all I'm saying is, if my head is like filling with blood and I collapse, just take me to the hospital. And the thing is, it will be great because I'm a panda. So it'll all work out. I'm just saying, I'm feeling a little weird. So if I start to like drop words or like go like this and don't realize it, just know that's why. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. And if I do like, you know, dive and knock to the head, I hope I've got a great sense of humor about it right up to the end. But anyway, what was I answering a question? What were we talking about?
Copyright.
Copyright, all right. So, the thing is, that was an established song with a record label. And so, if I ever want to do a recording of that and sell a recording of my version, I have to buy a mechanical license. But in general, if I'm doing stuff from a Nintendo game in the 1980s or 1990s, almost always, they don't care because Nintendo's already paid their contracted composer who doesn't own the rights. And if Nintendo has no precedent of suing, and they actually are vocal about liking that kind of fan tribute stuff, then I can sleep well because I know that I'm just kind of helping to sell their virtual console games and ultimately celebrating the nostalgia that everyone who played those games has. You bet.
I have two questions.
Two questions.
I always have so many
Pick the best
questions.
one.
Pardon?
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I can ask both?
Sure.
Okay. First question. Have you thought about, now that we've seen the Schoolhouse Rock, maybe making like a full series of it? Kind of like a movie?
I have thought about extending a Schoolhouse Rock kind of thing. You and I spoke about Avenue Q earlier in this convention, which is one of my most influential musicals in my life. You know, they basically, if you don't know, so Avenue Q is the idea that Sesame Street kind of is real. It's in the real world, but all of the things they teach you on Sesame Street with the bouncy songs and stuff are all the real world lessons. Like, for instance, the internet is for porn, and everyone's a little bit racist. All these things that are kind of edgy and kind of controversial, but ultimately have a grain of truth and are done in this bouncy kind of Sesame Street way. So like, yeah, I've thought about doing another Schoolhouse Rock thing, but the thing is, I'm kind of in this flux part of my career where the lyric series and video game humor, that's my day job. And I like it very much, but it's part of what I do. And if I was going to continue the Schoolhouse Rock thing, I would want it to be about lots of things. Like, for instance, I really want to do something about the fact that direct marketing is, like, outdated. What I mean by that is Mary Kay, Cutco, people that, you know, cold call and try to sell you things, come into your home to sell you stuff, Shaq vitamins, even like the sex toy parties. Like, at some point, which I'm sure we've all been to, I'm just saying, like, I want to do something about the fact that, like, I don't know if you've ever had a friend who started selling stuff like that, and then things got weird because now your friend is also a salesman to you, and you have to, like, deal with the dual relationships there. But, like, I feel like I could do something with that for a Schoolhouse Rock, or I don't know, something about how 4chan works, you know, but like all very bouncy. And it wouldn't necessarily just be about nerd stuff or just be about video games. So yes, I do think that could happen, but it would require me to start continuing to branch the brand out to the point where it's not just video game humor, or there's a clear indication of when I'm doing video game humor and when I'm not. More on that later this year.
And my second question, sorry, I'm still talking.
No, it's okay.
Still talking. Are you planning on releasing more of your original piano stuff? Because you just uploaded recently that one EP of that awesome, like 2-minute song or something.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. and you have it online, but are you gonna make like more and put it onto a CD format, or are you planning on going like online only for the rest of your stuff?
Well, the thing is, physical CD sales are great if you have something people are going to buy at conventions, but it's an expensive startup thing, and when I can just slap something onto Bandcamp and iTunes, and within a few days, people can just like swipe their PayPal or clickety-click with their credit card and buy it, it's so much easier that way because there's no friction. There's no waiting for a printing company to print up 1,000, which you have to pay for up front. So I do think that my major albums and even some EPs that I have in the works will continue to have physical representations of themselves. Will they be discs? I don't know. Maybe they'll be flash drives. Maybe they'll be some kind of like nebulous blob that we don't know about in the future that works as some kind of data storage. I have no idea. But there probably will be physical editions of my major releases because when I'm at a convention, it's hard for me to go, hey, I know you're here, but go online, as opposed to, hey, buy this thing in my hand. So,
will you be expecting more from your, like,
you're asking if I'm going to do more original stuff?
Yeah. Like,
yes, this is a good segue to talk about the fact that...
Honestly, like, it's great.
Thank you. So this is a good time to say, while I'm not going to say anything as revelatory as we're ending the comic, I am going to say, I'm slowly but surely working almost entirely in secret on a new channel called the BB Spin, which is basically, I'm tired of the fact that I have all this other stuff I want to do. Not that I want to ditch video game stuff, because I love that, but I also want to do all this other stuff. And when I do other stuff on my channel, it feels to some people like it's diluting the brand, or they're like, okay, get back to the stuff we like. It feels like I'm McDonald's and I'm starting to try to sell pizza, and everybody's like, whoa, we don't want pizza from you, give us a Big Mac.
They did used to sell pizza and it was awesome.
And what happened to that?
I don't know.
Yeah, nobody does, because nobody wanted it, just you. I love you, man, but McDonald's pizzas is nobody wants big pizza. So I've got a channel called the BB Spin that exists right now. It's got 3 fairly unremarkable videos that are just test videos. But I want within a year to basically have it where Brentalfloss is a place for my video game comedy content. And the BB Spin is where people like you who go, hey, I like your original work, I like your piano stuff, I like your non-video game comedy, I like your non-video game satire, or musical numbers that you wrote 10 years ago that you want to share with us. All that stuff is over on the BB Spin, and Brentalfloss becomes a home for just a brand that makes sense, because if people only want to watch video game comedy from me, in a way it's kind of dumb for me to like make them sit through, even though I'm not making them, but like having them sit through stuff they don't want to watch.
Yeah, like they're subscribed to you and they're like, what is this?
Right. My audience has bifurcated itself, and you're a representation of that, because in the audience of people asking about my lyric stuff, you're like, hey, you're gonna do more piano stuff? There's a lot of you, not as many of you, but there's like this hardcore, smaller group of people that want to see more of that stuff from me. So the short version is, the BB Spin is hopefully going to be a home for that. And if you want to be one of the first 100 subscribers, it's youtube.com/TheBB, my initials, Spin. And again, don't have super high expectations for those videos. They're just test videos right now. Questions?
I've noticed a couple of times when songs went from YouTube to album, like a couple of, like a few of the words changed, especially with regard to some of the pop culture references. Do you find that like kind of difficult, or like maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I should make it like a more timeless reference sort of thing?
You hit the nail on the head, yes. I, at the last minute with Contra with lyrics, changed one of the lines. It was going to be about Justin Bieber or something, but I changed it to a joke about Mel Gibson, like, hitting his wife, because it was topical, and I don't like him. And so the thing is, 2 years later, when the CD was released, it was completely, or maybe 3 years, a long time later, it was no longer in the memory of people, whereas Margaritaville is a song that will live forever. So I changed the reference to Margaritaville rather than making a reference to, wife beating and spousal abuse by a celebrity. But yeah, there also are small little changes in the lyrics that, it's weird, I preach lyrical discipline, but the truth is, every now and then, it doesn't actually matter if it was a that or an of. If it was an is or an are, like, actually is and are is really important. But sometimes connecting conjunction words that are somewhat interchangeable, and you'll find that throughout the albums, because sometimes after writing it and releasing the video, in my head, it actually changes to what I would have made it if I had gone back and done it. So while I'm not into like tinkering or tweaking past the point of release, that's not something that I'm like, yay, everyone should do that. It just happens, and yeah, I do. I mean, even the truth about Toad, which the truth about Toad is a video that the longer I go after the release of that, the more I feel like my intention to do a video about gay equality, pretending to be a video about homophobia, actually just came off as a video about homophobia. And that's why on the album version I put the thing that alluded to the idea that Toad and I actually dated, and he dumped me on my birthday. That's why I'm mad at him. Kind of making it like yeah, I'm totally gay. Am I? No. But I mean, in that moment with Toad, he'd be gay with that little guy. So that was the idea. Thrown in my hat with Fungus Head. Go. My fundamental process of lyric writing. Well, trying not to suck is number one. It's different every time, Lately what my process is, if I'm playing a game, or playing a game back through to try to capture the juice of it, I'll play through the game and I'll write a bunch of notes. I recently played through all of Earthbound, and the whole time I'm writing little notes. And then you kind of pick the things that you want to keep in the song, you figure out whether you want it to be a narrative. I mean, the thing is, the lyrical style, the lyrical process, is kind of like saying, what's your process for building something? Well, what is it? Is it a house? Is it a, like a list song, a patter song, a love ballad, a song that encapsulates the story of the game versus Crazy Duck in Space, which is just about one kind of element of the game. Each one is different. Usually, it's, you figure out the structure of the song. I write a first draft, and I think that if there's anything unique about my process, it's the fact that I write a first draft and then I wait usually 2 weeks to 2 months and just don't even look at it. So I can come back to it meaner. What I mean by that is, when you first write a lyric, it's like, oh, it's so good, I want to show everybody, it's so great, it just came out of my brain. But what you really need to do is wait till 2 months later and go, oh, this is bad. You have to detach emotionally from it and come back to it. I have a metaphor that I use in my my Lyrics 101 videos, and I can actually use this as a visual aid. I don't know if you guys know this pointillistic painting called, what is it, Sunday on the Island of La Ranjat by George Seurat. Anyway, I'm trying to sound convincingly French because some of you probably know the difference. So, obviously pointillism, right? It's making this painting like pixel art. It's all just these little dots, and this enormous painting, bigger than this thing, is all just dots, blue, red. And my process feels like this. When I'm done writing the lyric, I'm like, yes, it is done. And my face is this close to the painting. And as I take a day, or a week, or a month, I slowly back up and I go, oh, that part's all screwed up. Okay, gotta start over. But the creative distance that it takes, for me, it takes time to back up and go, okay, this felt really good when I was done. That's because I was focusing on 3 blue dots in front of me and not the fact that it's an entire piece. So even though it's all parody lyrics and it's all fun and games, mixed and fart jokes, there is a sense of structure and a sense of making what's already good better. Toot on horn. You man with a green shirt.
Okay, that being said, I'm sorry I didn't get to you yesterday in my cosplay. I respect you as an artist. I think you do some really great things. I respect you.
Thank you. Are you about to say butt and then something bad? You've got a ninja throwing star in your hand.
My duty was to come to this convention to respectfully, as Metal Man, come throw one of my metal blades at you.
Oh.
Your Mega Man in lyrics, because I'm sorry, I don't like it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your polite dissent. Did you have a question?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't have a question.
Oh, do you want to throw it at me now?
Sure.
Okay. What's it made of?
Cardboard.
Okay.
Does it really matter at this point?
Oh, that one didn't go.
And it is done. It's really nice that it just stuck in my head like this. I just ran around like, oh, the pain! I don't know algebra now! No, that would be left brain. There we go. All right. Anatomy, y'all. Thank you for your polite dissent. That's why I love Canada. Even when somebody's coming up and saying, I don't like what you do, and they're throwing a thing at you, it's so polite. You're asking if I'm excited for the new DuckTales Remastered game? I am, and in fact, this is also news. I wrote a song for the game, not in the game. I wrote a song intending to be in the game, and Way Forward, the developer, at least some elements on the team of Way Forward really liked the song. Disney did not want to license a new piece of music, so the song kind of languished. It was going to be an ending credits tune with lyrics. And anyway, Capcom is going to put it on their website next week, and it's going to involve a bunch of internet celebrities. It's called Just One Duck. It's going to be it's an original in the style of an 80s power ballad, like the kind of song that's at the end of, you know what, I'm going to sing you the first little bit. For poops and ha-has. And the thing is, it's not on its own the funniest thing ever, but if you were alive in the 80s and the early 90s, and you know that every movie ended with the same kind of crazy rock power ballad, Joe Cocker, Michael McDonald, that kind of thing, then, you know, anyway. All right, here we go. It takes a lot of people to build a giant money bin, and it takes a lot of golden coins to fill into the brim. Oh shit.
Masterpiece!
And that's why you hit your head before every panel, so you can go, guys, I'm probably concussed. All right. I'm gonna start from that point. The brim. They say life is like a hurricane in this duck blur of a town, but it takes a lot of bad guys to bring our spirit down. Just one duck can save the world. That makes lighters. Just one duck is all it takes to see us through. There's a waterfowl I know who's got his ducks all in a row, and knows Scrooge, that crazy duck is you. That's it. And the video comes out next week on Capcom's website. It's one of those things that it's not an knee-slapper. It's kind of a slow burn pastiche in a weird way, but I love it. We have 12 minutes left, so let's do some more questions. Let me filter out anyone who's already asked one, just because I want. Okay, Raggedy Ann, hit me. Are you giving it to me? Okay, bring it up to me then, I guess. I accept candy and also metal blades. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Salt water taffy. Give it up for this guy. Thanks so much, man.
Preach.
By the way, I'm going to be going straight from here to the autograph tables. It'll be my last time in which I'm doing that at this convention before I get on a plane. I'm actually, to be fair, I'm going to be at the charity auction emceeing that, but I'll be going straight from that to a plane to where I live. So, point being, if you want to hang out, get a picture, get a CD, get an autograph, whatever, the time to do it is right after this panel. I'm going to go to the convention ops room, grab my stuff, and then within 5 minutes of the end of this panel, I will be at that autograph table. So if you want to come by, I'll be there. And if not, see you next year. I'm also going to be at Fan Expo next month. So if you're there, if you're 19 or older, I have an off-site show. And if you're not, I have a Q&A panel at Fan Expo itself. I have a feeling you have something to tell me.
We've actually got time for one more question. We've got to start clearing the room to make room for our next act, which will be the 4 4s.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. We're gonna do one question, and then if you have more questions that are burning, ask me at the autograph table. That's a good time to do it. I'm gonna say Hawaiian shirt guy.
Oh, thank you. I love what you said about putting some distance between you and Ukraine. I write stories, and I always try to do that. So it's nice to know someone else gets that. But are there any projects, anything you've done that you were really proud of, put a lot of effort into, and you wish were more popular?
He's asking me if there's any projects I've worked on that I put a lot of work into and that I'm really proud of that I wish were more popular. Well, first off, all of them. But no, it's a really good question because, you know, I mean, I'm about to do a little bit of a woe is me, so just know that I think what I am allowed to do because people like you who give a crap is awesome. I'm extremely grateful to the universe for allowing me to be the lyrics guy. But sometimes I'll do a song like Zidane to Vivi was a song earlier this year that was kind of a heartfelt, less funny song in a Ben Folds style. It was supposed to be a song about Vivi from Final Fantasy IX. And I really meant it, you know, I really felt like it had implications that were deeper than just like, hey, dicks are funny and so are hearts. But you know, the view count is just dramatically different from something like anything with the word with lyrics on it. And that's fine, but it is a bummer sometimes when what people want is the thing that they subscribe for, which is a very specific formula. I mean, my friend Doug Walker had a similar situation where he was like, I really want to do a narrative series, I got this cool idea, I'm gonna go for it, and the audience went, we can't deal with change! And that's the internet for you. Like, individuals are great, the internet sucks. Like, you're all individually wonderful people, but the sociological organism that is internet audiences are just atrocious. So while I'm mostly joking, the point is that, yeah, it's a letdown sometimes when you feel like the thing that you really, you know, wanted to make sure everybody knew you were legit, and you were like, this is gonna make everyone think that I'm really deep and smart. Those things don't always work, and sometimes the thing that you just crap out in the night is the thing everybody goes nuts for. I wrote the BioShock song in one sitting and tweaked like 2 different lyrics, and the thing is, that's one of those miraculous times where it just works. You don't have to work on it. Like, it was done. It just rolled out of me the day that I beat the game. It doesn't always work like that. And it can be frustrating that the thing that you didn't work on as much is apparently the thing everybody loves so much. The thing that you crafted from marble is like, oh yeah, I guess that one's good too. But that's art. And whether it's on the internet, whether you're doing with lyrics or you're doing any kind of music or visual art, that's kind of how it goes. There's never a guaranteed connection between how much work you put into a particular project and how it's going to be received. The exciting thing is that if there were that connection, then it would just be like, well, I put in 7 months of work, so it would be 7 months good. The thing is, you roll the dice every time, and the magic of it is that sometimes you win, yeah, sometimes you lose and it sucks, but when you win and you surprise yourself and you find out there was something in you didn't even know about, and you didn't even realize how good it was, that's great. So anyway, in conclusion, you guys have been a great audience, and thanks so much for coming in from ConBravo. Like I said, grabbing my stuff and heading to the autograph area, but if I don't see you, safe travels back wherever you're bound, and hopefully see you next year. Have a good one, guys.